hippopotamus for Christmas. A hippopotamus is all I want.
Welcome back to a festive episode of the Film Ireland podcast. I'm Richard Drumm.
And I'm Sarah Cullen.
It's been 2 whole seasons since last time we did this. I'm pretty sure it was still summer the last time.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We're here now. We are going through an extensive and in detail catch-up of the last 4 months of filmmaking.
That's it. Maybe 6.
Which we definitely both saw a lot of examples of. Maybe 6.
Mm-hmm.
But since this is the Film Ireland podcast, let's start off with an Irish film with Extraordinary, starring Maeve Higgins and Will Forte and other people, but they're the main two that get the poster names. So for those that haven't seen it, it's the story of a lady who can see ghosts and talk to ghosts, and her dad was a ghost hunter, and she's sad, and then makes a friend with a single father, and then also Michael Flatley, but not Michael Flatley, is evil and trying to summon Satan.
And
or something
Will
to that
Forte.
effect.
Yes.
He's Will Forte.
Yeah, I did see someone point out, like, there is actually so much plot for
now
a movie.
that I'm trying to recount it, yes, there is a lot of plot in that 90-minute film.
And and it's not, but I mean, to its credit, it is not like you're not sort of sitting there going, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, it's very clear. It's just hard to recount.
Which is not good for an audio-based film podcast.
No. Which is why, visual medium. Good for movies.
Yep. So Irish films, I think we give a harsh time to on here. They're often quite bleak, as we say. This one, not so bleak.
Yeah,
I don't
especially
think.
considering what we've just described. Very funny. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I on the whole enjoyed it. I think.
Yeah.
The first half a lot more than the second half.
Yes, agreed.
But it's good.
Yeah. I suppose one of the plot points as well is that Will Forte's character has made a deal with the devil. As you say, so I think we already said that. If we didn't, that's what happens. But but essentially he has to sacrifice a virgin in order to go through with this deal. I kind of found that part less enjoyable. Like I don't really feel like in 2019 we still have to have this concept of virgins in our movies.
And the whole second half generally just felt very hackneyed and like it had been done a million times elsewhere, and once it became quite a generic sort of horror film, I was like, I'm kind of bored now. Yeah,
agreed. Actually, because I think Maeve Higgins did a great job of being sort of quite an eccentric character she was obviously a bit of an oddity and a bit of a sort of oddball in her community, but I feel like her character was quite happy in that, and I thought that was very cool. But I also felt like the script didn't want her to feel happy and wanted her to be sad that she didn't have a lovely boyfriend. And I don't know. I think if they'd been brave and followed through with her enjoying her oddity and her
singleness, as a single lady,
that's it. I think the film I would have liked if the film had gone in that direction myself.
Yeah, me too. I also think the whole idea of Will Forte's character, it's much funnier in theory, or on paper, than it was in practice. I think that joke essentially has run its course by the first time it's told. Like when you see that first video of him doing all the stuff, and then the reveal that he's actually made a pact with Satan, and he explodes the first virgin by accident, whatever it was. Yeah, that was as much as you needed of that character. Past that, it became really obvious jokes that weren't that funny. Because I think the first half is full of this very weird Father Ted-esque kind of humor, where it's just all this absurdity in this really mundane setting, and it's great. And then the second half is more plotty, I suppose, and it's more quote unquote action scenes. And there's endless scenes of that one guy vomiting up what looks like semen, which wasn't really funny. I usually quite enjoy bodily fluid jokes. That one wasn't very funny, and then they kept doing it over and over again. Yeah,
that's a good point. There was also kind of a moment where I suppose Will Forte had been on quite a bit, and you're kind of like, oh, for the majority of the time, presumably Will Forte was just on his own. Did they have him with everyone else for a scene? But it feels like for most of the time, they probably just had him.
That's very possible.
But,
overall, it's pretty solid. And it definitely passes whatever laugh joke tests people have for comedies.
Low on the bleakometer, high on fun. The funometer.
Sound more disingenuous there. No, you're right though. I agree. Because Maeve Higgins, I remember when she first kind of became a thing ages ago, I quite liked her. Then I went really off her because I think she did some RTE show, which was, I don't know, one of those RTE shows. They always commissioned was a bizarre sketch comedy that makes no sense. and that was not great. But it's good to see her back again, and she's actually got a decent screen presence. And like you said, she's that character feels very real and likable, and I agree that it wouldn't have been any harm to just lose the love interest thing. But sure, look. I'm glad it exists. Yeah, it's nice to have an Irish film that isn't super bleak.
Yeah,
the other two I have on my Irish film list are boring.
Yeah, and actually, to be fair, the last year, I think, last couple of years have been quite good for women-led Irish dramas or films as well. Not just dramas, comedies, indeed. Which I think they haven't been as good at in the past. So that's, thumbs up from me.
Even if she does need a boyfriend. For
that's it.
And or be a virgin.
Yeah.
Well, she was a virgin too, wasn't she?
So funny. Yeah. So that's one aspect of I don't know, Irish film, film in general. Just we don't care about who's a virgin, who's not. Like let's move away from that. It's boring and done.
Oh no!
Is there a good segue to the next movie for that?
Unfortunately, I realize there is one. Let's talk about Joker.
Oh,
AKA what was it being called before release? The incel radicalization film or something. Admittedly, I will admit, I'll hold up my hand and say I was one of those people that was a little bit paranoid about this going crazy once it came out and people doing some shit. I think the film, everyone's seen Joker. Statistically, everyone has seen Joker.
Everyone
it's made
has.
so much money in this country alone. It's kind of shocking. I don't know why. Do people?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the marketing got everyone from every side. That's probably not true, but I feel like it's true.
Even people that didn't care about saw it to kind of just see it, I guess.
Exactly. Well, I mean, so many people saw it because Joaquin Phoenix is like their favorite actor or whatever. Like I did see a lot of people, who wouldn't care about like DC whatsoever. I mean, it was barely DC, right?
Yeah, I'll get that in a minute.
Okay.
Because I think on some level this must just be part. I don't know what it is about the Batman IP specifically that when people see a trailer that goes, "Look, it's that but realistic," they jump on it because this is like the Dark Knight over again. Yeah. Because no other DC thing in recent years has made that much money aside from this kind of ruins my point. But Aquaman, which was very silly and loud and bad, but fun-ish. But yeah, this one I don't know why it got the as you're saying, like the every kind of quadrant appeal that it got and then made all the money. Anyway, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's politically very toothless. I know there was, but that was the funny thing. Before it came out, it was like the right saying it's an Antifa movie and the left saying it's an incel movie. And the truth is somewhere in the middle of it being neither. I guess it is more Antifa than incel ultimately. Well, no, it's actually kind of both, but it's both, but without having any any gesturing towards the real world counterpoints. If that makes sense. Like it's detached enough from being readable as a modern political text. This is getting very angry. That it's functionally useless. As a drama, as just a film to watch, it's grand. I think it would have been better if it wasn't a DC movie because the only stuff that really takes away from it is just the strangeness of this ostensibly real world having people called Thomas Wayne and it's called Gotham and it just feels off and wrong and takes away from it. And also, when you have the Waynes in a movie, you have to kill the Waynes on screen. So once again, seeing Thomas and Martha Wayne gunned down in a grungy alleyway for probably the fourth time this decade in live action on screen. Very boring. Also, I think ruins the film a little bit because it's not about them. They don't need to be there. And then that just implies, so that little kid's going to be Batman and I guess beat up a 50 or 60-year-old Joaquin Phoenix down the line. It's... Even Joaquin Phoenix's performance, which is very good, and I'll probably like at least nominate, if not win an Oscar. It's I know you haven't seen it, but you've seen the trailer. Like he has the laughing tick, which I think was a ridiculous addition to the screenplay. He didn't need to have like a medical condition where he'd laugh uncontrollably for no reason. Wow, it's fine the first time you see because it's the Joker, he has to laugh, doesn't he? But then by like halfway through when he's just constantly laughing for no reason, and like this is just, it's really awkward. I feel sort of uncomfortable sitting here. The pacing isn't great. I saw it a second time just to see, and the pacing is a bit if it was half an hour shorter, cut out all the references to DC and just lost that laughing bullshit, I think solid post Scorsese Taxi Driver style throwback movie but without being as interesting as Taxi Driver, because that's a much more interesting movie. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I was wondering actually, do you think it is still Oscar
oh yeah,
bait, or not bait, but like still it would still be in the running, you think?
I feel like for a few reasons. One, the fact that it made so much money and got such generally favorable critical reviews. That means that they wouldn't feel bad about nominating it, because I know they're like last year Black Panther. They're desperate to get in the young crowd that care about these silly comic book films. So nominate Joker, because they're not going to nominate Endgame, are they?
Yeah, true.
Or Captain Marvel, I guess they could.
Yeah. No, I suppose it does feel like once it came out, like commentary went, or they just like everyone like stopped talking about it,
because there's nothing to say about it. That's
but
the problem.
no,
like,
agree. Yes,
like, what is this? Is this going to radicalize the youth?
But I mean, I suppose actually even what you're saying might, like the fact that it is kind of quite toothless might be quite useful for Oscar.
Oh, it is. That's, I think, why it made so much money as it did, because it's people coming out of going, like people like not like us who just watch films and watch films.
Yeah,
they don't go in and go, right, notes out. How does this depict like race theory or gender theory? I think the fact that it was toothless means they don't have to think. This is very condescending. Like, you don't have to think about it too much. Like,
yes, all you people out there.
Yes, all you brainless slobs regurgitate.
Yeah, happy Christmas.
Because I think, and this is a comparison I will say, that I think it's kind of like the Marvel films in that.
Yeah, okay.
The Marvel movies are neither good nor bad. They are all perfectly fine. But because we live in a society, hashtag, you know that meme, kids, you got it? Yeah. Because we live in a society where everything has to be good or bad, anything middling is therefore good, because it's not bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Marvel films, I think all, maybe like a few of them stand out, like Ragnarok or stuff, but most of them are kind of just fine, but therefore they're enjoyable. And people are like, that was good, see that.
Yeah,
and Joker, similarly, it doesn't really challenge you, so it's hard to say it's bad when it's just fine, therefore it's good. And I guess also, if you don't watch a ton of films like the way we do, it would seem quite different to what's come out in the last few years. And yeah, fair enough. I'm not saying I don't get how people watch it and enjoy it. I just think of all the films to make $1 billion this year, that one, that one.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, it's fine. It's all right. On a very different end of things, Sarah, want to tell us about Harriet?
Yes. I was wondering whether that was coming next.
That wasn't very intentional, but that's the segue you got.
Yeah. So this is the biopic of Harriet Tubman, the essentially she's kind of a superhero. Like, I'm sorry. I mean,
is that coming on the poster?
Yes.
What'll make you watch these movies that aren't superheroes?
Like, yeah. So, I mean, if for people who aren't sure of who she is, she was...
Is she DC or Marvel?
Oh, yeah. This is the question. She was a slave in the American South. She escaped herself and then returned to the South dozens of times, I think, to liberate her family and other slaves. And then during the Civil War, she captained I think it was an all-black brigade, or at least one of the first brigades that let black soldiers in, and they rescued then something like 700 slaves. So she saved a lot of people, and her superpower was that she suffered.
Needs to commit to the bit.
Yeah, no. Well, see, this is the thing. Like, she got hit in the head as a kid, and so she suffered bouts of narcolepsy.
Okay,
and she believed she was channeling God.
Right.
And
sure.
Apparently on some of her expeditions, God basically told her when she was safe to go, when she wasn't safe to go. I don't know that this happened, but to be honest, like, if I was going to believe in God, that's the reason.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. But so anyway, so she was an incredible person. I'm not sure that the biopic quite got that.
That was such a build up to a kind of wah.
I know. Like, it's a good film. It's a competent film, but I think now slave narratives are kind of stuck in a mode of being told that I don't think is very interesting. Mm-hmm. Like, say, 12 Years a Slave and a lot of the other ones that have come out recently, they all spend a lot of time focusing on the white slave owners. And that's kind of really
They're
boring.
just like you and me, Sarah. We can relate to them.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
no.
We can give white people Oscars that way. You know, like what else?
I remember
what
Brad
else we
Pitt
want to
ended
do?
slavery that one time.
Exactly. This is it. So I don't know. I think personally, what I would like to see is a lot more focus on Black experiences, and not necessarily going head to head with their former slaver, because I think that's a very I don't know. I think that's quite a convenient way to avoid the more systematic problems of of slavery and to the modern day other forms of slavery that are still going on, for example. So that's one thing that kind of disappointed me a bit, but at the same time there's a lot of good that is going on. I know a lot of people have kind of said it would be a very good story or very good film to show like in classrooms.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of very instructive stuff going on. It's what I find kind of amazing as well is that there's a lot of obviously escaping going on in this movie, but literally everyone is sprinting the whole time. So you have like elderly people in their 80s, you have women like carrying their babies, and everyone is like an Olympic athlete, just like sprinting across the South. It kind of, which also I think it kind of takes away from the fact that it was it wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon. But more than that, it's sort of like, it's kind of trying to make, actually I saw someone say it's kind of trying to make it into an action film. Which I guess is like one audience to try and, to
the one that wouldn't
entertain.
see otherwise, I suppose. So,
Yeah, I know that it is definitely one way to go, but at the same time, I think kind of, again, like it kind of takes away from a lot of the mundanity, I guess, but also just the long-term struggle, which I think is maybe something that needs to be looked at as well. But yeah, some really good things about it as well. Like there's, obviously it's about a female protagonist, but she also has friendships with other women, which like, it's just sort of, you don't really see a lot of Black women, getting screen time together.
That's
so,
true.
That's good.
But Sarah, does she need a man? And is she a virgin?
That is actually kind of an interesting question.
God, I was joking.
Because it does actually start with her when she's escaping slavery. She essentially, she has the choice: run away or get sold down the river, which basically means you get removed from your family, you go to even worse situation. So she decides to leave her husband, and when she returns, I think is it a year later, he's remarried, and she actually never did remarry. So she realized she didn't need a man, and so there's lots of very, very good lessons going on. Yeah, no, it's
I suppose that's something.
That's it. It's a good film. I think there's things to improve on, but I think it's good if you have any interest in America, in the South. Very, very interesting. So I don't know what we're going to segue into now.
Yeah, so. I can't think of anything. I think I blew the best on that Virgin one to Joker. That was probably the best I could have done. Well, speaking of Joker, I suppose, from one Scorsese infected film to an actual Scorsese film.
Oh, yes.
With Flex. No, I got nothing with Flex. The Irishman, which hopefully this won't take as long to review as it did to watch. Ouch. It's a bit long,
Yeah.
I do think it's a bit hyperbolic the way the length's being talked about. Like, it's half an hour longer than Endgame was. And yes, that got a lot of kind of, it's very long, but no one was like making this bullshit sort of mini-series points. And okay, watch the first hour, then stop, and then take a break, and then watch the second, then stop. Like, you can do it in one sitting. It isn't that hard. It's on Netflix. Take one break if you need to take a bath. It's fine. I didn't really care about this before it came out, and I saw it in the cinema because I figured I'd never watch it otherwise. And you know what? It's actually quite good. The length, while undeniably obnoxious, does sort of have a point in that you do. Well, the funny thing is, the length plays in its favor in terms of making these lives feel like you've seen the whole breadth of them. Okay. Whereas the very expensive CGI, not so much. So I remember when I first saw this coming out, I saw the runtime of 3.5 hours and went, good God, how? and then saw the budget of 160 million. How? And it seems like it all went on the CGI. And I think, have you seen that clip of the grocery store bit?
I don't think so, actually.
Okay, it's kind of doing the rounds 2 weeks ago. And
okay,
it's pretty rough, where it's youngish De Niro, like roughing up a grocery store owner fellow, and he's like kicking on the ground. But it's very visibly an old man with a CGI young face beating up this man.
Oh, man.
And that's a problem throughout, is that De Niro never looks any less than maybe 55. And given how much they spend on this.
I was thinking, like, it does not, like... I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's an epic spanning like life that you're seeing just from the photos I've seen.
Yeah. Because I think it does feel that way, because you keep being told like years and stuff. Like, okay, fine. So this amount of time has passed. Oh, look, he has slightly more grey in his hair. But the faces never, to my mind, really change all that much until ironically you get like to the very end, and they all have clear prosthetics on to look like fake old people, like older people. Like, oh, now they've definitely aged.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd love to see a version of it with the CGI taken out, just to see how it looks without that. Because I don't know that it would look that much different, and Netflix needed to blow quite that much money on it. But anyway, back to I suppose what's all that's in favour of, or in service of. It does stand quite nicely against Scorsese's other films about like gangsters and how much fun that life looks, but also it's like, oh, it's lonely and your kids will hate you. This one's much more, no, it's all pointless and you will die alone. And in this case, because it's Jimmy Hoffa, who like I sort of know of as a name. Do you know?
No,
I sort of recall the name coming out in like 90s shows when we were young, but I never knew who he was. I thought he was a football man or something. Apparently, he was a union guy. But yeah, the whole point is the fact that like no one knows who he is now, and like kids these days don't know Jimmy
like me,
Hoffa's. Exactly, like you. You're the reason old Robert De Niro is sad and dying, Sarah. You don't know Jimmy Hoffa is. This man he dedicated his life to. He was, what's the quote in the film? In the 60s he was, no, in the 50s he was as big as Elvis, and 60s as big as the Beatles, something like that. Like, sure, if you say so, movie. Everyone's very good. De Niro's very good. Pacino's reasonably reined in for Pacino. Pesci is great. Pesci has gotten so old, or maybe the CGI worked. I don't know. It's hard to know. I think he just got very old. He was retired until this came out. He came back for like one more job kind of thing. Which I've never been wild on Scorsese. Like Goodfellas and all, they're good. They're enjoyable, but I've never been like, oh, best thing I've ever seen kind of films. Whereas this one, I do get it more, because it is such a meditation on age and legacy and the pointlessness of dedicating your life to anything, really. So, because just love your kids. That's the message. Whereas Anna Paquin won't talk to you, and then people misconstrue that as they're not getting enough lines. Whereas her silence is actually the point in the movie. Did you hear about that?
No.
People doing the whole line counting thing of like, Anna Paquin's in this, and she has like 3 lines. Like, but the point is that her character won't talk to her father. The silence is the point.
I did hear she was in it and hardly got any lines.
She does. Her like performance is really good. It's always looks and disgusted sort of stares and stuff. She's great. But like the lack of line isn't some misogynistic thing. It's the point of the character. Which I know you can still be like, well, I don't know. It's like it is a very male movie. I'm not going to pretend it's got more than 3 speaking female characters. It doesn't, but in the same way, I wouldn't want. I'm trying to think of a film now. I'm not going to think of one. Actually, we'll get to
Marvel,
Hustlers.
Captain Marvel.
No, let's go with that. No, Hustlers. Hustlers doesn't need many male voices and doesn't have them. It's a film about like a female story. This is I know everything's a very male story. It's just a sort of weak defense.
No, I mean,
what hole am I digging, Sarah? How do I get ahead of it? Give me a ladder.
I think it's fair. Occasionally, that's a legit claim. You know.
Like I'll be the first to say yes, not enough women in these movies, but I also think the Pac-Man thing is just weird because it's literally the point. But again, silencing women to make a point, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Who knows? It works well in the movie. It serves the story well, so I guess it's fine. Probably. Movie's pretty good. If you have 3.5 hours to spare, watch the movie. I do think it's a pity Netflix, or well, it isn't Netflix's fault. It's the studio's fault for not getting a deal out with them, that it didn't get a wider or longer cinema release, because it actually is worth seeing in a cinema more than Netflix, because it's easier to pay attention to it. That was my fear with a Netflix watch would be that I wouldn't. Like, my
you
phone
just
would
put
be
it on
there.
pause and then
it does work quite well when it kind of sinks into you and you have like time to properly digest it. But I think it did very well here cinema-wise. It seemed like it was constantly sold out.
Yeah.
And it's limited release. So that's
Irish people, we like Irish people, men.
Irish people, men.
Irish people. That's what they should have called it.
Yes, De Niro as a nominally Irish man is also very funny. That is the least Irish sounding voice I've ever heard. He doesn't do an accent or anything. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's pretty solid stuff. Good job, little unknown director Martin Scorsese,
well done.
and making a nice film.
Ooh, actually, well, while we're here, I feel like I should mention this trivia that I just heard on another podcast. Because we're talking about
regurgitation of mass media.
That's it. So yeah, I heard that in Home Alone, there near the end, Joe Pesci's robber character, he sort of says to Macaulay Culkin that he's going to bite off his finger or something, and apparently there was one take where he did bite his finger down to the bone. So,
of all the movies to go method for,
I know.
That's
it. Yeah, maybe he hates children or Macaulay Culkin,
or just his own body. There, why involve the children?
Don't know. Okay, but there you go.
To briefly go to something we've both seen.
Yeah.
The Laundromat, which another actual Netflix / cinema release, but again mainly Netflix. I think that one got maybe a day or two in cinemas here, I think. So this is from
Steven Soderbergh, isn't it? Yes.
The guy that made Unsane and Logan Lucky. What the hell's his name? Steven Soderbergh. I don't even know quite how to recount the plot is. It's the Panama Papers, but dramatized into a pseudo-comedy.
Yeah.
Anthology story about multiple characters. Yeah, all threaded through by the existence of shocking final reveal, Meryl Streep in some kind of face that isn't her own. Yeah,
was I like a complete rube that I actually did not realize it was her?
No, I didn't cop it to the end.
Okay.
No, that was revealed to me too.
Yeah.
All right, Meryl Streep.
Yeah, it was.
And then afterwards it went, oh.
No, I didn't sort of join the dots and realize the as you said, the...
Oh, nor did I saw a tweet about it. Went, oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Maybe don't, dress up as a... person from a different race.
Comical looking Hispanic woman. Yeah. It wasn't even a real human. It was.
Yeah.
She looked like a Disney witch or something. I just thought that's an interesting character actor they found with this very characterful face. Oh no, it's Meryl Streep and heavy prosthetic.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, taking away, character actor work as well. I don't know. Well, there you go. Yeah, I was I wasn't sure as well about the fact that so much of the movie was like not... I sort of realized at the end, I was like, okay, it is Panama Papers. But at the same time, I was thinking so much of the movie is focused on like nefarious dealings in not America. That I was kind of like, where are we supposed to be, locating our anger here?
That's true.
Which, I guess that is sort of the point to a certain degree, that it's taking place on these offshore islands that aren't, rather than, but at the same time, I think it's like, well, we can, then locate it, then it comes back to the US, then it comes back to the UK, etc.
Now that you say that, I don't know. You're right, because even in terms of the characters we're given, like the quote-unquote villains of the piece are Honey Banderas and Gary Oldman with this ridiculous accent.
Yes.
Whereas the hero is Meryl Streep, not in Yellowface. Actual Meryl Streep crusading for death money.
Yeah.
There's definitely a term for that. There isn't death money. Insurance.
It's good
life
name
insurance. Life insurance. There we go.
Good name for this month's podcast as well.
Death money. I'm sure there's a worse phrase we'll say at some point.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I was kind of excited for it because I quite like Soderbergh, and I thought him doing a film that's like taking to task big money and stuff could be interesting. And it's sort of, I wouldn't say it's toothless. It's just, I think what I couldn't put my finger on that you've now correctly placed is how it sort of dislocates the anger from what should be, I guess, our respective governments, like UK, America, that kind of thing, opposed, and then it's going to, oh no, here's other people with different coloured skin being bad.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable enough though, like it's sort of funny.
Yeah. It has good things going on, and I can literally, at the moment, I'm only really remembering the one storyline of
the mansion and the teenage. That's all I can recall.
Yeah.
As well.
There is also a very short scene which I remember like is cut surprisingly short, because it's
where the husband dies.
No, where the husband dies. It's two. I can't remember who the two actors are, but like, you know, two very well known actors
Sure.
who like turn up in a bar and then they are mercilessly shot in the back of the head or otherwise dispatched. And, you know, it kind of seemed like,
They were famous people.
yeah.
Right? Who were
And
they?
it kind of seemed like one of those things where it was going to go on for longer and like, nope, they are dead. So, you know, like, yeah, entertaining.
It had that like Tarantino thing of it. It was
Yeah,
all like
yeah.
nice vignettes, but none
That's
of them
it,
amounted
yeah.
to much in total.
Yeah.
Because even that opening sequence I thought was quite cool when it's them like walking to the desert, explaining how money works.
Yes,
and it's,
yeah,
the
yeah,
set
yeah.
keeps changing. That was quite cool, but again, like to what end? It didn't
Yeah.
really build to anything.
That's it, yeah. It kind of seems like the kind of thing that maybe if it was made 2 years ago. I don't know. I'm not,
Maybe.
you know, like maybe it might have been. I suppose the other side of it is apparently like there was people trying to get it taken off Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, I suppose the other thing is that kind of feels like that happens with every Netflix film that is exposing something. So you know, I suppose at this point it's like, yeah, that's
But
just what
did
they
it
say.
even expose it?
Yeah.
Like I knew more about Pen and Papers before I watched it than
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, no, that's fair. So
I don't know.
you know, it's a good try. I feel like that's all we can do these
Soderbergh's
days.
still making films, even though
Yes.
he retired like 5 years ago. But yeah, it
Exactly.
was no Logan Lucky or Unsane.
No.
Oh well. Look forward to his next year movie, whatever that one
Yeah,
is.
that's it. So
So Sarah, why
Yes.
not talk about Le Belle Époque?
Ooh.
Époque or Époque?
I say
Époque?
epoch,
Époque.
but
French, and I can't remember my
It's-
French
yes.
leaving certainness, so it could be either.
it could be either. Exactly.
Probably
It's up
époque.
to the individual viewer to decide.
Yes.
That's not how language works,
Not at
but let's
all.
say it is. Yeah, I really did not like this.
You're good.
I really,
Good.
oh,
All
like
good noises so far. Continue.
this is. I suppose I feel like I shouldn't hate it as much because it got a small release at I think the IFI French Film Festival. So you know I can't really destroy it, but I want to.
I think you can.
So it's been compared to Charlie Kaufman, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
yes,
Mind.
yes.
I was trying to remember how that title started. So yeah, I suppose it's kind of vaguely a similar concept, but it's not similar enough for one, and also it's bad. But let's see. So this is a vaguely parallel universe, but basically our universe. But here a company is set up who create big life-size dioramas of whatever period of history you want. You can then go and, you know, relive.
Like full of extras playing
Yes.
people and stuff.
This kind of thing, yeah. And you have a director behind the scenes. You can be you can say like, I want to go back to World War II, or you could say, I want to go back to this day on my childhood. And then they have a director who will basically tell everyone what to do while you sit there experiencing it all.
I guess that's kind of a cool
So
concept.
yeah, no, it's a cool concept.
Wasn't there a similar thing with Philip Seymour Hoffman a few years ago? Oh, probably a good one.
Ooh, maybe.
I can't pronounce the word. It's like Synecdoche, New York, something. Or
Synecdoche. Yes. Yeah. I guess maybe it was compared to that as well. It was definitely like people were like, ooh, Kaufman kind of stuff.
Like
So
you said that, like a villain, like an Inspector Gadget, like Kaufman.
yes. No, I like him. But yeah, so I guess it is this kind of, I guess, Charlie Kaufman type thing of like, ooh, replacing memory and, you know, how can we relive our past, blah, blah, blah. Except for this is basically, so it's a guy in his 60s. He hates the modern world, but he alone hates the modern world. Like everyone else loves it. Like, you know, the way we all love the fact that technology like rules our lives.
Oh yeah.
And like we can't get enough of it. But this guy, he's like, you know, he's the sole guy who is fighting the system because he's a comics book illustrator who lost his job because of all technology.
Oh yeah.
But his wife loves technology. She like runs a big fancy company, and his son has some sort of big internet job. So, you know, basically like his son has failed him. his wife has emasculated him because she makes the money.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, yeah, he has nothing.
This is sounding quite French already, I have to say.
Yeah.
Does he smoke a lot while all this is happening?
It's definitely a lot of smoking going on. Yeah.
I've seen this film or some variation of it several times. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. But the one thing he does have is he has a voucher to go and revisit the day in 1977, I think it is, when he met his wife for the first time, back when she was like, pure and, things were good.
It's funny, when you started describing this, I was like, but why is this concept so needlessly convoluted? And if has someone build a set, some director's like, because you couldn't have a VR version because that would ruin his whole character, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
his
exactly.
His sole character trait would be undone if you did that.
Yeah,
right.
So, I guess it just makes my skin crawl that it's like, for this guy to be able to, spoiler alert, he learns lessons about how appreciating love again, and suddenly his wife realizes, maybe she should,
quit her job.
Maybe she should quit her job. That kind
really?
of.
That actually happens?
I don't know that it happens, but by the end of the story, or by the end of the movie, no, she doesn't. She certainly doesn't care about her job. Ooh, she actually does reject all her fancy rich friends, and she just wants to return to her husband. It makes my skin crawl that he can't learn a lesson without having literally a world created around him that is being directed by the director is worse than him. Yeah. The director is having a relationship with the actress who plays his wife. And shockingly, he is basically he's basically whispering in her ear the whole time, whispering obscenities and telling her how worthless she is. Mm-hmm. But it's because he loves her. This is what he has to do to survive as a director. Mm-hmm. In this world where I women are just too dominant at the moment, and he's got to keep her in her place.
Like the modern world, sir. Like the modern world.
Yeah.
They all have too many jobs and money.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, you can probably see why I despise this movie.
No, please continue to explain why it's bad.
And it goes on like that for a while till the end, when women are back in love with the men, and the men are back on top, and in
every sense.
In every sense, yes.
Ugh.
And film mercifully ends.
Yeah, that sounds like the worst traits of all French cinema in one thing.
Yeah.
But with a pretentious framing device. Great.
Exactly.
Is the director played by the director?
It's not. But
it's an impressive step forward.
Yeah, but the director has a limp. I feel like, I don't know, that's something I can't tell what.
Oh, it makes him no longer just the prime alpha male. Now he's in some way interesting and authentic.
I think you're right there. He's vulnerable. That's why he's allowed to be an extra asshole, I guess. Yeah.
He's incredibly privileged and has every amenity life can afford him, but also has a limp. Therefore, I feel bad for him.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Jesus. I do have a segue this time from your one of just, I guess, retrograde anti-feminism, Hustlers, which is really good. And also sort of Scorsese in its construction of a, crime is cool, kids do crime, but also, crime might be bad. Though I think I'm going to slightly spoil the end of this one, because I think it's really funny that most of these kinds of films where there's a big crime and the crime looks fun, but the consequences hit home, usually it's like, they all went to jail, someone got shot. This one ends with, they got a couple months in jail each at most. That was it.
Nice.
Nice. It's just surprisingly low stakes, or not low stakes necessarily. It feels quite tense while it's all happening, but it's in the end that was actually fairly low key overall, wasn't it? That was probably the crime of the century. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the plot of Hustlers it's set just before the financial crash. A bunch of strippers who decide to, because I think the clubs start taking more and more of their tips and charging more, and basically the crash happens, so they can't get money, so they decide to start I said date raping. It's not date raping. Using date rape drugs on men. Not even, or was it? I think it was. It was a various drugs. There's a very funny bit when they cook drugs and it's collapse. Very good. It's a good comedic shot. It's very funny.
Nice.
Anyway, so they knock them out and then they like bring them to the club first, mix their drinks with the drugs, give them the drinks so they pass out, and then like chart their cars, loads of stuff, and they get commission off that. So they're just stealing from rich people, basically, rich assholes, Wall Street types, misogynists who use strip clubs. So it's really a victimless crime, anyways.
Yeah.
But it's just great because it's nice seeing a film that shows female friendships and doesn't make them melodramatic.
Okay.
So even like when there is the inevitable like third act big falling out between everyone, they all, even though they've kind of, some of them have like betrayed each other, everyone understands why and like hugs it out. You're like, huh.
Okay.
This is novel.
Ooh, that sounds actually, because I remember in Widows last year, like,
I forgot Widows even existed.
yeah, like it was very cold. There wasn't really a lot of friendship between the women.
I think Viola Davis, especially, just her character, I couldn't quite understand in that movie. She just seemed
definitely
really aggressive as everyone else. Everyone else seemed kind of likable and nice, but she was awful.
Yeah.
Actually, but then again, she killed Liam Neeson, which, you know, after this year, fair enough. Right. Good Viola. Sorry, what were you saying?
I wasn't necessarily a massive fan of Widows, but I suppose it's nice to see. Yeah, I suppose it's nice to see that, you know, there's a group of like, you know, women heist-ish movies going on now. You know, that's good.
This is fun. J-Lo is, everyone says she's great. I hope she does the Oscar nomination, that she deserves it. She's just, I don't think I've ever seen her acting something before. I might have seen some scene from a rom-com on late night television at some point. She's bad. But no, she's great here. Everyone's just good. That chick from Riverdale is surprisingly good. One of the Riverdale women.
Okay, yes.
Betty or Veronica. The interchangeable names. I can't remember which is which.
Betty's the blonde one, surely. It's like a more...
I think you're right. So Betty's in this.
Okay.
She's very good. It's nice seeing a Scorsese-style sort of heisty, crimey thing, but when the aesthetic is so garish and it's a strip club, but because I think it's interesting that also that the film never shies away from being completely objectifying about female leads, but it's not it doesn't revel in it. It's not in a seedy way. It's very matter of fact. If that makes sense. Which I guess makes it's reasonable given that it's directed by a woman. I think I'm going to make sure it's directed by a woman. I'm near certain it is.
Another Scorsese's movie, you say. Okay.
Martina Scorsese. It's Marty in a wig. But yeah, so it's a weird balance trying to strike of objectifying your cast and yet not making that feel incredibly sleazy.
Yeah.
Good job. Yes, it's directed by a woman.
Excellent.
Lorene Scafaria.
Excellent.
So Lady Scafaria directed this, and she's very good. It's fun. I wish I had more notes on this because I'm running out of things to say, and I do want to admit that it's a very good film and people should watch it, but I can't think what else to say about it.
I admire you admitting it. Grudgingly.
Like, I have literally 3 notes on it, the last which is just great overall, which is really unhelpful, and I'm sorry for the mistakes of past me. Yes, so go watch Hustlers. It's good overall.
Excellent.
Put that on the poster. I think from one thing that's good overall to say a thing that could be bad in 2 different ways. Gemini Man.
Yes. Well, this is actually, I suppose this will be kind of interesting to talk about it because it is also a movie with a lot of de-aging CGI.
Oh yes, of course.
So
you see, we plan these links out. It's all connected.
Is it. Which is also, well, no, actually, sounded like The Irishman it was okay. It is very weird here.
Now, my first question to you is, did you see it in the weird frame rate thing?
Yes. Apparently,
was that really weird and bad?
It's actually weird because there's there's sort of nearly like 2 different ways that it's used. Like, there's some scenes that are actually very well done, where like depth of field is good, and a lot of the action scenes are actually quite well done. There's one in particular that it feels like a video game, but in a good way.
Okay.
Do you know, like what first shooter kind of thing, but you believe that it's happening and, you know, you're moving with it. That works well. But then it's like in the scenes that aren't action oriented, it's like they just didn't bother. So you then have a horrific thing where you have things going on very close to you, and then everything else is just like supposed to be far away, but it's just a tiny bit further away from you. Like it's just like there's 2. It's very not. It's really uncomfortable. Like, I actually found it quite sore on my eyes.
Oh Jesus.
Having said that, I'm not sure that I did hear later that apparently, because we were watching the preview screen, that it was not set up properly.
So
it might have been a case of possibly those scenes would be better.
Bad, yeah.
Yes, it might be less bad. But it definitely did feel like they just phoned it in when it wasn't supposed to be really exciting, which is weird. And yeah, then for so Will Smith is de-ageified to 23, and actually most of his younger self is fine, but they couldn't get the top lip.
I've heard this.
Top
they
lip
make him eat ice cream a whole lot.
Yes, yeah, it is very weird. I don't know why they drew attention to it. Maybe Ang Lee did that intentionally. I don't know. But it's very off-putting. So maybe it looked better in screens where things were working right. I don't know.
Or in lower definition where it's all a bit more blurry.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I have definitely heard people, who know more about this than me, just saying like, considering it was the kind of it was the thing that the movie hinged on, they probably should have put a lot more, work into it to make it look convincing. And they didn't. But
like, aside, because like so far, all I talk about is technology involved. Was the film on any level engaging?
I didn't think
I'm
so.
assuming it's not based on that your whole view sort of well, the projection wasn't great.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I mean, I was quite surprised because a lot of the films seem to be based on this idea of action heroes back in the day. Weren't they great? Isn't it a shame that
they all got wives, took their money?
That's a good point as well. But basically, like, the young Will Smith is... It's amazing because he is both like this lethal weapon. He's basically older Will Smith cloned to be a murder machine. But his adoptive father, Clive Owen, also coddled him. So he's a murder machine, but he's also like really insecure and like doesn't know why his like dad doesn't love him enough. No, sorry, actually loves him too much.
Sure,
so it is basically like fucking millennials. Why are they everything that's wrong with the world at once?
Good, great.
Yeah, it's
what we needed.
It's really that. Like at one stage, maybe the running theme of our podcast, older Will Smith, when he encounters young Will Smith when they're fighting their way through Europe, is like, I bet you're a virgin too. And it's like, he probably is. And apparently that's what's wrong with millennials.
Insufficient fucking.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but
also possibly too much. I'm like, the jury's out in that one.
Not enough or too much.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, it's really, like, I was really, I don't know, I was quite sad because I thought it was going to be at least interesting. And it was really just like, older Will Smith is basically going around the world in really cool jet planes and stuff with like his older, I don't know what MI5 type comrades who are all like guys in their like 40s and 50s. And it's just like, it's pretty much just like, remember back in the day when we saved the world in cool ways.
And men were men and fuck the right amount.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, like that kind of feels like, I thought that Ang Lee would have more to planned, and I don't think he did. The one interesting reading I did come across was actually that it is looking at the future of acting in the world of de-agifying. This idea that if actors can literally be rendered in CGI, what does that mean for acting? Which I think is interesting. Unfortunately, I don't think that the film conveys that in any interesting way. But I mean, I guess the fact that The Irishman did come out and is looking at, not necessarily intentionally, but I guess there are similar issues going on. I mean, maybe Ang Lee did have an idea, but at the same time, I've also heard that the script has been rewritten over the last like 15 years. Yeah. So yeah, it's possibly just an interesting idea that's been added in the last year. So yeah. Like, I don't know.
So not worth watching.
No, it really isn't. But, I mean, I guess you'd only want to see it if you were in cinema.
Yeah, for the novelty of the weird.
Yeah.
So I saw The Hobbit 2 with that, and that wasn't the same frame rate as this one had, but also it was also a different kind of elevated frame rate, and that was bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not great.
If there's a science behind why we only have 24 frames. Like, our eyes can see so much, so putting in too much makes it look bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
So finally, I think in some ways a culmination of many of our themes, Ready or Not.
Oh, yes.
It's about the anti-rich, the
Very
sisters
true.
doing it for themselves, not needing no man,
Yes.
and Satan.
Yeah, that's
To
a
a
great point.
So this is a film that when it came out, I was like, haven't I seen this like 5 times in the last 3
Yeah.
years? But this was actually, it did feel quite different, but it does feel similar to stuff like You're Next or
Yeah.
oh, I had so many more in mind. They're all gone now. What else came out?
I mean,
This
I think it's similar to Get Out as well. in
something to
quite
get out a
lot of
little
ways.
bit.
Kind of Cabin in the Woodsy-ish, I think, by the end
Self-aware
anyway.
sort of horror.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
yeah,
it's pretty
definitely
good.
more
So
stuff,
the
yeah.
setup here is that woman is getting married to man.
Yes.
Our famous section. We don't know the names. And the family. And I did quite like how over the top and arch it was that they were like a video or a board games
Yes.
dynasty,
Yeah,
and it just
yeah.
was absurd looking. So on the eve of the marriage, or the night of the marriage, the tradition says that at peril of death, they have to pick a card from this weird devil box and play that game, and that's it. But if it lands on hide and seek, that famous American variant, hide or seek. If it lands on hide and seek, it becomes the most dangerous game, basically, where the whole family have to hunt the bride down, and if they don't kill her and sacrifice her by dawn, the Satan will kill them all, which everyone assumes is not real and is just bullshit superstition, but it isn't. It's good fun. Go
Yeah,
on.
I was just thinking it definitely has sorry, I can't even think of the name of the franchise now. Everyone has a night to murder each other in.
Oh, Purge.
Purge.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's very Purge in its feel as well.
Purgey, yeah. And also a bit Knives Outy.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's
Similar big old
some.
houses.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up some
Anti-rich sentiment.
Yes, and some. I think there's some kind of big links going on this year in other films too.
Go now. I've done the synopsis.
Well,
I'm out of words at the minute.
alrighty.
I will read my notes.
Thinking,
I
yeah.
have none.
All right. Well,
It's a blank space beside the words ready or not. So Sarah, please take us away.
okay. Well, actually thinking about it, so I'm kind of feel like it's the Succession effect.
The show Succession?
Yes.
I've not watched this yet. What's it even about? I just know apparently it's the tits is all I know.
Well, it's very good. It's so yeah, rich mogul, I guess sort of possibly Rupert Murdoch type, who so he like owns basically the media in America. The show starts off with him. Does he have a heart attack? I suppose it's kind of a spoiler for the first episode, but it goes on for 2 seasons, so you get the idea.
Not the first episode.
Yeah. Basically, with him potentially on death's door, his four children are basically all squabbling over who is going to be his successor. Yes, and so the show then becomes he comes back alive. They're all like, shit, we've basically all shown that we would like stab him in the back at any moment. How do we like go on from here? So it's all of them. Yeah, I mean, it's basically 4 siblings squabbling with their dad as well. They're all the richest people in the world. Well, it is very, I think it is very anti-capitalist, but I still, what I'm uncomfortable with is I still think it's too sympathetic towards them.
Right.
I think that purely on the basis of I don't think that people like them have feelings. So I think, portraying them having feelings in any sense is possibly not helpful. But there you go. But I think so there's another show, The Righteous Gemstones, which is
sort of the name, yeah.
I can't even think of what is the name of the actor now.
It is some...
Danny McBride. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, it's his show. Quite a similar setup. It's John Goodman is the father. He's like super rich pastor, reverend in who does the TV circuits in America, and it's him and then his 3 kids. There's other things going on, but again, it's basically that family fighting while everyone else gets screwed over. And then so I suppose what's interesting in compared to or with Knives Out and Ready or Not is that it's kind of the families tend to have one daughter who is is
I love
basically
watching someone
ignored a lot
look
of time.
for like a diplomatic phrase, something really bad they're about to say.
Yeah. It's sort of extra insecure because they're the one daughter who probably got looked over their whole life. Well, actually, that's probably unfair because I think all the sons are as insecure, but all in very different ways. But like to me, it seems to me like at the moment, this sort of rich family drama is very interesting, as in is interesting to viewers and keeps coming up quite a bit.
I think what you're saying about the succession problem of them being too sympathetic, I think is nicely sidestepped by Ready or Not and Knives Out, in that anytime it seemed like it's about to give you but there's one rich person that's okay in the story, they're also an asshole.
Oh yeah,
and it's nice that it never quite lands on some of them are okay, like it never both sides.
Yeah. I actually have a sort of challenge to that, I think, with Knives Out. But I do agree with you.
Right,
like
yeah,
I also do think like that when I do say like I feel I'm worried that they're too sympathetic, I kind of literally just mean like I'm not sure that we should be viewing these people as human.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is definitely not there and Ready or Not. You do not view them as human.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, sorry, that was a very, very long tangent. But we're back to Ready or Not.
We both have very little to say about it. That was a good tangent to go on.
Yeah.
I loved it. I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it a lot. I have to say, it kind of, one thing that did annoy me was how it uses poor people. Like, it kind of punches down
the cleaning staff and stuff.
Yeah,
I thought that too.
Using cleaning staff being murdered as a running joke is like not the thing to do.
No, the optics are bad. The intent is good, and that's like these are awful people who do not even see their staff as human beings. They're just furniture that walks around and gets shot sometimes. Which is, that's a fine point to make. But yeah, the optics of it are a bit lurid, I suppose.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
I think as well, the fact that with the third cleaner, when she realizes that it's the main girl is the target, not her, she starts shouting out. That's like, are you saying that the working class is going to side with their oppressors? Because don't say that.
I mean, don't say that, but I also feel like there's enough incentive in the way modern jobs set up that it is very much trying to turn everyone against each other, and it all to stop them from attacking the rich on the upper level. So that's
true.
Not on point. But yes, I know what you mean. It is dodgy.
Yeah, it's not great. I suppose it's just also that thing of like, and I have to say, I really enjoyed Ready or Not. I love stuff like Unsane. I do really enjoy these movies, but they are also just like, ooh, beautiful white blonde women. Oh no, what if they get in peril?
She got dirty.
Yeah,
now you must feel sorry for her.
That's it. Yeah. So it is just like, white women, get over yourself.
Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about us in the top 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll change that. I know what you mean. I will say though, because I usually hate when you have a character just endlessly screaming in a movie. She has a phenomenal set of lungs on her, and also it never got grating, which is odd. Like, it was very authentic screaming. It never felt like Hollywood screaming in a horror movie.
No, that's a good point.
It's a weird point to bring up, but it's just, it occurs.
Funny, actually, I was going to say that it kind of, for me, was maybe a little bit too much comedy and not enough anything else. But actually, thinking again, when she falls into the murder pit, well, that was really gross.
Oh, that was horrible. I think I laughed quite hard when she fell in, but it was, her getting out was disgusting and bad and horrible. And
there was definitely some moments where, like, I'm not sure that it was really scary, but it was very gory at times.
Yeah.
And
even like her having to shoot the kid and stuff was a bit like, Jesus.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it didn't really shy away from anything, and I'm glad it's set up to its logical conclusion at the end with the reveal. That was funny. That was a nice like capstone joke on the whole thing. I definitely highly recommend it. It's good fun, because also that film that didn't come out in the end this year, the one that in totally normal circumstances that the President of the United States got banned.
Yes.
What was that called? Because that was something similar, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of like The Purge, but more about Democrats or something. I don't know. I can't remember what that was called, but yeah, that was definitely a very strange one. I guess the other side of it is possibly that was it going to be axed anyway, and then they were like, oh, Trump did it.
Yeah, possibly. And now they can release it in like 6 months' time. The interview style and get all the press for it. Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible.
There you go.
I wish we had more to say on Ready or Not, because we don't have a lot.
Well, no, actually, like, I did enjoy it a lot, but there were things I think I wish that they did a bit differently.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I did like the idea that, you know, most of the time it'll be fine, but if you pick this one card, you're probably going to get murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And that was quite an interesting way to have the family, to have the main character be like, sorry, no, actually she didn't even know, but for her future husband to be like, well, you know, the odds are good, let's go with it. But at the same time, I think I would have loved if all the other siblings' spouses had gone through a murder night and had survived. I kind of would have loved to see like these like battle hardened people who were just joined the family because they were prepared to like murder to get there. I'm not saying it would have had to have been that way, but I kind of would have loved to have seen that.
Well, like my favorite secondary character was like this. It was the aunt. Is that what she was? Remember the grey hair who was super serious and she had all like the best jokes. Yeah. And she was sort of the archetype you're talking about. So yeah, I think you're not necessarily wrong.
You know, like, I mean, it's like they had to make their movie makes some sort of logic, and you know they went for what they went for. And it was very good.
Yes, it was very good. Now you're probably thinking, viewer of the ears. Ooh. That's not listener. Is probably the word they got there.
They might like to look at ears as well.
Who knows? No one's judging no fetishes here. You might be thinking, well, this catch-up review is a bit light on other recent films. Well, that's because we're doubling down on content, and you should listen to our top 10 episode instead. Not instead, along with. Listen to both. By all means, please continue to listen to us in our next episode of our top 10s of the year, including probably the worst of the year. The good worst of the year, the bad worst of the year. Yes. Other things. But yes, we'll probably review stuff. So much filler. Endless, nothing but filler. Yeah, no, you said it best. Filler, it's filler. Yeah. Come back for top 10 filler. See you next time. Bye.
Stocking filler.
Yeah. That's probably an on-point reference, and that's for a long past Christmas when this comes out. Who knows?
That's true.
All right, thank you for listening. Until next time, which will be less than 2 calendar seasons away. Goodbye.
See you then.
And maybe have a Christmas. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm somebody now, Harry. Everybody likes me. Soon, millions of people will see me and they'll all like me. I'll tell them about you, your father, how good he was to us. Remember? It's a reason to get up in the morning. It's a reason to lose weight. To fit in a red dress. It's a reason to smile. It makes tomorrow all right. What have I got, Harry? Why should I even make the bed or wash the dishes? I do them. But why should I? I'm alone. Father's gone. You're gone. I got no one to care for. What have I got, Harry? I'm lonely. I'm old.
You got friends, Ma?
It's not the same. They don't need me. I like the way I feel. I like thinking about the red dress and the television and you and your father. Now when I get the sun, I I smile.